Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? Um, as I always like to do, 10 being the best day of your life, 1 being the worst day of your life. Give me a number, if you don't mind. Hello, Xavier. Welcome back. Hello, Mario. Yeah, you're right, Mario. It has been a minute. I'm not sure if you meant for you or me, but it's been a minute for me too because I moved. So, as you might notice, I'm in a different location. Uh, Asif is a 5. It's very average. It's very so good to know, Steve. Dr. Rocket says, "Hi, Victoria, our patient and smart host, Dr. Rocket." Hello, Dr. Rocket. It is great to see you and your rocket emoji. How is it going? What is the latest with you, Dr. Rocket? Um, Larry, nice to meet you too. BNR, where did you move to? I'm going to keep that a secret for now. Yeah. And then, but thanks for asking. Xavier says it's an 8 now. Oh, nice. I like that. Um, Pretty good. One of the, a really fantastic day, if we're being honest. Mario says, what, how nice, hopefully a better place now. I think it's going to be really good. I think. All right. If I'm being honest, I have a few reservations, but I think it's going to be good. Larry Miller says, solid 7. Learned a few things, hung out with my daughter. How about you? Not too shabby, Larry. 7. I'd say that's pretty good. Dr. Rocket says, our, oh, Dr. Rocket says, today is an 8 because my engineer wife is deployed to a forest fire. Oh, wow. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Um, I guess you're saying it's a good thing. Do you ever get like nervous um, that she's like fighting these forest fires? What's your take, Dr. Rocket? So then King Diamond Bone says, do you like BMW? So do you mean like the car brand or is this some kind of new term I don't know yet? Let me know. Fill me in. Mario says, great. I appreciate the positivity and enthusiasm, Mario. So I Feel Half Naked says, what do you think about long term relationships or marriage? I think most people are not equipped to have it, or even kids, because codependency. We don't have full self love, and that will create problems in the future. Well, I feel half naked. I'd like to hear your take on that. Personally, I don't fully buy this whole thing about like, you have to fully love yourself before you can have any kind of relationship. Like, we know that's not true. Will it create problems? I kind of feel like, problems are inevitable, but that doesn't mean they have to be like unsolvable problems. So, anyway, what do you think about long term relationships? I think they're good. Marriage, I think it's fine, if not good. I mean, obviously, there's some bad things about it. But then you think most people are not equipped to have it. I'm going to ask you why. Well, you said because of codependency. A lot of people, that's not their issue, like codependency. A lot of people are just like fine without that. And then even kids, this is an interesting question. I'll just get your take. I feel half naked. So then Pedro says, can you say some good approaches for for women on a typical Saturday night? All right, so where are you, Pedro? Are you at the club? Are you at a bar? Are you at a concert? Are you at, you know, where are you at? Are you at a gas station? Let me know. Hello, 92. How are you doing? He says he's doing a 7. as well as my little brother got dumped by his girlfriend, so he's like a mess. So I've been telling him it's not the end of the world. Oh God, that's a hard situation. I remember the first time my little brother got dumped by his girlfriend, and it was honestly heartbreaking to see the look on his face. Oh God, and I so wanted to like try to tell him what you're trying to tell him, but I feel like, you know, it doesn't really sink in, so it's very difficult situation, in my opinion. So then King Diamond says definitely the car. So I don't really have, well, I don't really have like a huge opinion on it. Seems like a nice car. What do you think of it? Hello, Jen Marie. Welcome. Welcome, Jen Marie, and a female, a certified bona fide female we got in the chat. Besides myself. Hello, John Paradise. How are you doing, Jen Marie? And how are you doing, John Paradise? So Larry Miller says, I feel half naked. You must be projecting your insecurity about how you feel about yourself. Interesting. Dr. Raka says she makes the big bucks, but yes, I'm nervous as the fire is headed to their base camp and they are evacuating nearby cities. Way nervous. I miss my sweetie bad. I understand, Dr. Rocket. That seems scary, especially like I've been following the whole Maui wildfire thing. Scary stuff. So I truly hope that she comes back safe and does an amazing job fighting that fire and saving lives. All right, so Pedro says at the bar. Um, well, you can just go up to a girl and ask if you can buy her a drink. That's a good thing to do. You can just go up to a girl and be like, "Hey, I'm Pedro," and give her a compliment. Um, give her kind of like you can call it a personality-based compliment. A good one, I think, is something about her style. Okay, because girls put a lot of effort into their style, their aesthetics. Okay, and most men are not really focused on the fashion, they're focused on the body in the fashion. So if you notice something like about her aesthetic, about her style, about something almost like personality based, that can really set you apart. Okay? But yeah, that's basically what you have to do. Don't try any pickup lines. Um, you know, don't do anything weird and crazy. Just simply ask to buy her a drink, introduce yourself, and give her a nice personality based compliment. And once you do that, you can also add in a looks based compliment, like, and you're fucking gorgeous. Something like that would be good too. But those are really the basics. That's really all you got to do. Oh, and don't forget to look smacks because that will really help you out there as well, Pedro. So be sure to be looking your best. Maybe unbutton another button of the shirt, but not too many buttons. Um, and make sure you got a good like facial haircut going on, cool style, and let me know how it goes. So I feel half naked says, problem is when he or she lacks money, it will create mental stress that kids will adapt the behavior of parents. It is hard to unlearn the traits. It becomes subconscious. That's why we've social problems. Okay. Problem is when you okay. Interesting take. I feel half naked. So Big Techno says, Big Techno tuning in. Always enjoy listening. Very cool, Big Techno. Thank you for joining in. And thank you for your compliment. I appreciate that. And what is Big Techno all about? Like, are you a DJ or let me know. Johnny Boy says, would you agree that the most important thing when approaching women is confidence, social skills, and being yourself? You know what? Honestly, Johnny, I would not say that is the most important thing. Those are very important things, okay? But I think there's something that's even more important than that. And that is looks, okay? I'm not saying if you don't have looks, go to number two, most important thing, confidence, social skills, and being yourself, as long as when you're yourself, you have success with women. Because a lot of you guys could just be yourself and it will like backfire horribly. So being yourself, I would just like scrap the advice. And in a sense, you're going to have to be yourself, but in another sense, you are going to have to like learn some social skills and perhaps alter your natural self. But anyway, back to my main point, which is I wouldn't agree that it's the most important thing. I would agree that the most important thing is focusing on your looks maxing only because you will see like what is it kind of like the rising tide lifts all ships or whatever. You're going to get a halo effect. You're going to get like basically everything is going to be affected and you're going to get better responses. Like, okay, how do I say this? Let's just say you're going to get better responses when you look good and you have confidence, social skills, and being yourself. If you have good social skills, rather than you look bad, but you have confidence, social skills, and being yourself. There's a chance it will go well, but the chance is not as great. Okay. So that is why I'm saying focus on that. All right. Some things you guys can do. You probably know more about this, than me because there's a lot of channels out there. Get a good haircut. Have somebody kind of like really do an analysis of your face and see if your beard or facial hair works well for your face. You get colored contacts. And I have to give credit to my friend Philosophy Junkies for turning me on to this idea. So I will give credit to him now. He really pioneered a lot of these things. Well, he really tested these things out in a wonderfully dramatic way that got him tons of results. Colored contacts. If you're bald, you can get a hairpiece. Okay. Look at some before and after transformations. You don't have to do that, but it could help a lot depending on, you know, your overall look. Okay. You can get a good outfit, something stylish, very, very fashionable, something that the kind of girls you like check out on Instagram, like what their boyfriends are wearing. Wear that. Okay. Because then they're just going to make a beeline towards you and be like, he seems cool. All right. So you can work out in the gym, try to pack on some muscle. Okay. You don't have to go crazy and become like a bodybuilder, but it is good to have kind of like a broad torso, in my opinion. Girls will like it. So these are some of the things that will enhance your results, no matter how good your confidence, social skills, and being yourself is. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Are you black pilled or are you simply red pilled? Let me know. So John Paradise says he is doing good. Milo says, hello, Miss Victoria. I have one question. Do women tend to lose respect for men who act chivalrous and sweet towards them? Do you think they are more likely to cheat on those men? Okay, so it's a good question because it's a bit subtle. Because there are guys who act chivalrous and sweet in a good way and guys who act chivalrous and sweet in a bad way. For example, I think it is a very strong tendency of nice guys, in other words, guys with bad social skills, guys with bad social skills, guys who don't do well with women, to be thinking chivalry is the answer. I will simply act, like I'm straight out of a Shakespearean novel. I will just overgive with, flowers and gifts and love letters. And I will just be so sweet and, never kind of like have a backbone or kind of like put my foot down or put myself first. yeah, they will lose respect if you act like that. However, if you have a slightly different definition of chivalry, which is something like, kind of like adhering to gender roles, and your definition of sweet is kind of like being guided by the female gaze, in other words, stuff women want, then no. But I don't know which one you're doing, but one can be really bad, and one is very common trap guys are falling into, of just acting overly chivalrous and overly sweet and being perceived as weak beta losers with no options. Okay, so I don't want you to fall into that trap. What do you guys think? So then Pedro says, how to have a hookup in the right way and not kill her lady boner, like in your video, how to not kill her lady boner. Well, that is the $1,000,000 question that you guys all want answered. This is kind of like a tough question for me because I don't want to talk about this topic because I feel like this is just so like opposed to the female gaze. Like if you do everything I'm telling you in the videos, she will be more likely to want to hook up with you. That's for sure. Okay. But to just kind of like answer this burning question that all guys want to know, which is basically how do I get sex easy? It almost like can betray women. And I felt kind of bad about some of the videos I've made in the past talking about this topic. So let me think about that. And if I want to answer that right now. It's a very valid question, though. It's just complicated from the female point of view, which is why you guys constantly say, don't ask the fish how to fish, because, yeah, I think there's almost like a conflict of interest there, which has become more apparent to me the more I've done this channel, which is part of the reason why I stopped making videos on the channel, because I kind of realized what you guys really want to know. Well, some want different things, but I become conflicted. So then John says, what are your thoughts on a mom investing $20K on BBL? I guess it's up to her, John. Personally, I would not do it. However, I guess I'm going to say it's up to her. Obviously, it's up to her. But personally, I think it's weird. But I can understand. It's very competitive. And it's very hard to feel good about yourself when there's a lot of looks shaming. So looks are very important for men and women in dating, as we all know, right? So I can understand why someone would do it, but I just feel like, like you have to like mutilate your body, But that's just my opinion. They can do whatever they want. So then, what do you think about it, John? So then Nicholas says, should a man take the lead and ask his lover to be his girlfriend or let her? Okay. Well, in my opinion, Nicholas, it's kind of like you got to take like I know this isn't like how the late and great ARC used mode 1, but I'm using it in just like, don't be afraid to go after what you want and say how you feel. Okay? Could you possibly like hook her and like cement her as your girlfriend if you let her come to you and kind of like beg you, because then she kind of sees you as like higher value? Sure. But you just want to live your life like that, or do you just kind of want to like be a man in a woman's eyes and not be afraid of going after what you want, saying what you want, and saying what you feel? Because that's kind of how women see it. So, it's a stronger position from a woman's point of view if a man is just kind of like, I don't give a fuck about these games, although I hate that word, but I like you, I want you, I'm gonna tell you. However, to be honest, it's probably more effective to let her. Do you know what I'm saying? But you have to take your pick. Do you want to always be kind of like playing these manipulative games? Maybe you need to because she's like more on the fence. But hopefully you have the skills and the attractiveness to women that you can just be like, I want you to be my girlfriend. And she'll be like, oh, yay. But if you kind of feel like she's kind of like really hot and cold, maybe let her. So then Johnny Boyd says, great question. And what do you think about that, Nicholas? What's your exact situation there? Johnny says, why do men struggle to talk to women? Well, Johnny, I think it's a couple things, okay? You guys can let me know as well since you guys are men, but this is my take on it. Number one, male culture is very different than female culture, okay? But people don't know this when they're growing up. They assume it's similar. They assume we have the same goals and desires. They assume, women want the same things men want. They don't. So then they make these blunders because they have massive blind spots when it comes to what women want because they're always thinking, oh, well, I'll just think about what I want and apply that to women. Wrong. Okay, so then they're always putting their foot in their mouth. They're always kind of like offending women. They're like, I don't know the right answer. What do I have to say to get her to like me? Why does everything I say always backfire? So they're kind of like, I don't get women. Women are confusing. Women make no sense. Women are emotional. They're not logical like we men. They have their own logic starting from their own first principles, their desires and their goals versus your desires and your goals. Okay, there's that. Also, there's like desperation, I feel like, with men due to kind of like the market dynamics. Like it's highly competitive for straight men. So there's a lot of pressure, right? And also, they're kind of like got all this testosterone that's kind of giving them like this kind of desperate need for sex. And they're kind of like in a sex desert. So again, that puts on the pressure. So it kind of makes them kind of like nervous and like the stakes higher. And they're just kind of like, I don't understand why women like aren't giving me the sex, I guess. So it's confusing to them. And above all, they don't understand what I like to call the female gaze, which is they don't understand what women are attracted to, why they want strong, powerful, dominant men, just like in nature, just like tigers, just like wildebeests, just like rhinos, just like chimps. Okay, watch a nature documentary. It's not nothing new, but they don't get that because like from their perspective, they're like, why would anyone want to be dominant? Why would I want to be like dominated by a strong man? That's disgusting. So they don't get it. They do not feel the raw attractive power of men. So it makes no sense to them. Then, to confuse things even more, there's women talking about how they want to claim their rights, okay, because they have been oppressed. And so they want to claim their rights for equality in the work world. However, men make the leap that also applies to romance in the bedroom. Okay, that hasn't caught up yet. If you guys watch my video on sex brain versus normal brain, you'll know that when women are turned on, when women are sexually turned on by the things they like, their primal brain takes over. They like gender roles, okay? But then men are so confused, like, wait, you said you didn't like gender roles like in the boardroom. They don't, okay? It's two separate areas of life, all right? So men aren't making this very basic connection a lot of times. Oh, but you said you want equality. It's not so simple, okay? Learn some nuance, learn some subtlety, and you will understand. So, what do you guys think of my take, and what's your take? I'd love to hear it. And did I miss anything, or do you disagree with anything? So, Asif says, Victoria, I am reading Alan Roger Curry's Mode 1 right now. Now, I need a second opinion on it, man. What do you want to know about it, Asif? And are you liking it? William says, hey, Vic. Hello, William. So Franklin says, what are your thoughts on older women and sexual desire? I'm a recently divorced 50-year-old man, and I am interested in women my age. Well, there's definitely a lot of like sexual older women. I know because I was in this program in New York called Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts, and it was basically a lot of like divorced women who are having like midlife crises and leaving their husbands, okay? And trust me, they still have sexual desire. Not all of them, okay? Some of them are just like, been there, done that, I'm done. I have no interest in that anymore. But there's quite a lot of them who are interested in having sex. But what's your take on it, Franklin? And I got a super chat. Dr. Rocket gave me a super chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Rocket. To what do I owe this honor? I appreciate your super chat very much. I really do. You are awesome. Thank you so much for your support. And let me know if I'm missing a question of yours. I'll keep looking for that in case I did miss it. And if I did miss it, just copy and paste it below, please. So then Milo AV says, lol, I love your honest take about this being yourself perspective. Thank you very much. Yeah. Like, for example, I see on online dating apps all the time guys being themselves. Okay. And they say, I love sports, I love golf, I love hunting, I love fishing, and I love playing video games. Now, he's being himself. However, that's not going to appeal to most women. Okay? If you're being yourself, you might say, you know, I would like to have sex with you, have a lovely experience, and then keep my options open to have sex with possibly a 10 one day. You're being yourself. Is that going to go over well with women? No, it's not. There's 1,001 things you guys could be yourself about and honestly say to women, and women are going to fucking hate it. Okay? Because they despise many parts of the male gaze and don't understand in many ways male culture and your goals and your values. So just being yourself is not like this mystical magic bullet. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of why I think. However, in a certain sense, is being yourself good? Of course. You know what I mean? Because it's like people do like authenticity. People don't like fake people. So in that sense, yeah, there's kind of like multiple definitions, you might say, of being yourself. So yeah, what do you think, Milo? So then Adam says, Victoria, why don't you collab with Alex from Playing with Fire? Playing with Fire, why do I feel like that's so familiar? I'm actually reading a book called Playing with Fire right now, which is kind of about like spiritual sexuality. But Alex from Playing with Fire, what do you like about him? And would he want to collab with me? And what would we collab about? What do you think, Adam? Federico says, hi, Victoria, you are beautiful like the sun. Thank you, Federico. I appreciate that wonderfully poetic compliment. So then Milo AV says, you talk about getting a haircut. What do you think about long hair in men? I mean, shoulder length is a limit. You know, if it works for you, Milo, it might be good. You really got to like do kind of an objective assessment. All right. It could be really good on you. However, I would kind of like comparison shop in a way and see if maybe a different haircut could look better. Because in general, I would kind of steer away from it because you don't want to do, well, it could be good. Okay. So I'm not saying that, but it can come off as like more feminine. However, on some guys, it looks really good. So, what do you think, Milo? Are you going to keep it? Or are you going to like, would you consider cutting it? So, 92 says, I told one of my friends how to ask out a girl. I told one of my friends how to ask out a girl out over text. Let me buy/take you out on this day at this time. Then he told me his method, and it was mostly beating around the bush and then ask. 100% 92. Yeah. You guys may or may not know. I have to get you the exact number, but I believe I went on like 293 dates. Okay, so trust me, I was very familiar with and I kept that in a spreadsheet so I can go look it up for you. But I'm very familiar with this beating around the bush for possibly weeks and then ask. It's terrible. So what did he say when you told him this method? Because obviously, I like your method better. Yeah. So then Ripped Up says, what's your opinion on Alan Roger Curry's approach to seduction? Okay, guys. I'll tell you guys something that I've never told anyone on this channel before, okay? And I never wanted to say this when he was like alive, okay? So basically, I had made this video about Mode 1 because I was just like browsing Amazon and I had gotten this idea because I was working as a stripper at the time. So I was kind of like reading all these books on kind of like sales and I guess dating and trying to understand men. I guess that's what it really was. And I had this brilliant idea where I'm like, okay, I got to read books written for men because maybe that will help me understand men. One of the best ideas I've ever had, honestly. So I found his book on Amazon and I read it and I'm like, damn, this is illuminating so much. I wasted so much time, in my opinion, on just reading books for women because in one book written for men, there is just so much that was made clear. That's kind of why I tell you guys to read romance novels, books written for women, because when you're reading it, there's going to be like glaring, like red flashing lights where you're like, that makes no fucking sense. Why would a girl make that leap? That's not how reality works. Because there's certain things that like girls take for granted, and then you as a guy kind of can see. So this is the female blind spot. And so when I was reading Mode 1, there were all these things that jumped out where I'm like, oh, so men take this for granted and this is like where they're obviously going wrong. So it was like so eye-opening for me. And I'm like, damn it, this is so good. And also it's a great book. It's really good. And you know, I'd like to reread it because when I first read it, I didn't understand half of what I understand now about men and their issues and what their goals are. But anyway, so I made this video, right? And somehow Alan Roger Curry found it. I guess one of his supporters sent it to him. So he wrote to me on Facebook and he was like, oh, hey, I saw you mention my book, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I love your book. It's so good and everything. So then he was like, call me right now. And I was like, okay. But I was kind of curious because I was like, you know what? Like, I better just do it because this could be like an interesting story, right? So I call him up and hey, he was being Mode 1, am I right? Just like he said, Mode 1 in every way, shape, and form. And, you know, the guy, like, he's just kind of amusing, like an amusing character in the book. So I wanted to talk to him. So we start talking, and immediately he starts trying to turn it into phone sex. Okay. But I was like recently in a relationship with Beardo. So I was just like, basically like, oh, like I wish I could, basically, but I can't. like have phone sex with you, but I am really curious about your book. And so then I got him talking, and he just started telling me like tons of stuff, like behind the scenes, kind of like all his crazy stories. And maybe you guys who are more of his fans, like have heard some of them. But basically, what he was telling me is like there's three types of women. Okay. There's like women who are basically like natural born subs, and they're like dying to submit to a guy, and all you have to do is basically like give them like a little flick, metaphorically speaking, and they'll like basically start submitting. And then there's women who have to be like convinced, and then there's some women who will like never do it. So basically started telling me all these stories of how he's kind of like targeting these like natural born subs in a way who are just dying to submit. And I've told you guys this on my channel that I agree. So many women have like a crazy submission fantasy. Okay, so he would just start like basically being super dominant, giving them some orders, and a lot of them were like, damn it, this is like my fantasy come to life. Let me do it. You know what I mean? So he was telling me some wild stories about like how he like there was this girl, he was at a hotel and she was like the cashier, and he was just like, come to my bedroom, like, and she was just like, yes sir, and everything in her eyes just got all like googly eyed or whatever. And then like at one of his conferences, he made this girl like suck a stick in front of like her boyfriend and stuff, and like it was a really funny fun conversation. Like I was laughing a lot. But then he tried to start being like super dominant with me and kind of like screaming at me. And it was honestly like kind of like not good and like scary. But I kind of just wanted to like not make, a scene. Like I kind of just wanted to like keep him calm and keep him talking in a way because I was like interested in talking to him. But then he kinda, like, tried to, like, dom me in mode 1, like, over chat again, and I was just kind of like, "So not as good as, like, my boyfriend, so all this to say, we kinda got in we were friends, we got in arguments, we got in fights over Messenger, um, yeah, like, I really liked him. He was not without his flaws, but he was entertaining as fuck. So where was I going with this? But anyway, at some points when we were getting in fights, it was like, bro, I was thinking to myself, like, I could expose this guy so good, but I will not do it. But overall, like he was cool, he was fun, he was like a funny guy, and you kind of always respected him because he was mode one. You know what I mean? And I felt like he did mean well. And he did respect women in his own like weird way, like more than the average guy. I don't know. I enjoyed him. Anyway, where was I going with that? Anyway, I believe Nani too. Thank you so much. Sorry I took so long telling that story. I didn't see. Well, I did see it, but then I just wanted to finish the story. But thank you so much for your super chat. And you said he took it in consideration, but he wasn't convinced on the idea. Yeah, that's. And why do you think that was, Nani too? Like, what did he feel was better about his way? Like less possibility of rejection because he was just kind of seeing if she would kind of be the initiator and aggressor? Because I feel like that's what a lot of guys are hoping for. And they just don't realize that instead of maybe like a 75% chance or whatever, it's like a 2% chance or 5% chance, let's say. So just a lot of girls, most girls, don't want it, don't want anything to do with it. The idea of being the aggressor, being the initiator, asking the guy out, some girls will do it, but most girls will not if they kind of are like, anyway. Again, really appreciate your support as always, 92. So then Um, all right, let's go back to the questions. Good question, Ripped Up. So anyway, to summarize on that, Ripped Up, it works. It's a bold approach, but it's can be a good one. It's flawed, but I think it's why not try it? I mean, I don't think it's going to go too well for a lot of guys, but why not try it? So then Larry Miller says, haha, I love how honest you are about looks are the most important thing for women. To a detriment, they will spend decades on bad men who look good. Love yourself, kings. I agree with you, Larry Miller. And I agree. Love yourself, kings. I agree. This whole look thing, it's superficial as fuck. Okay? It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're low value. Well, there's different, ways to measure that, but just because you don't look good right now, there's a lot you can do to improve your looks, even for guys. Okay? But it doesn't say anything about you as a person. Literally zero, in my opinion. So then Jen Marie says, good personal hygiene and grooming are a must as well. Great point, Jen Marie. Great point. I Feel Half Naked says, the best pill in life is no pill because I truly believe there's no objective truth, only different perspectives, and it will change at any time. That's deep, and I agree with you. Well, yeah, I would say I agree with you. So, Fam says, hola. Hello, Fam. Hello. Welcome, if you're still here. Adam says, I don't want to be vulgar, but woman, you are all right. Thanks, Adam. So then Ripped Up says, what makes Russell Brand in his prime so good with women, and how does he get away with saying the bold things he would say? Honestly, I'm the wrong person to ask because I've always found Russell Brand incredibly annoying, and I do not understand what women see in him, honestly. But I mean, he's funny and he's good at talking, I guess. But I don't know, I find him so annoying. But hey, you got Katy Perry. Maybe I have to read or watch some more interviews, but I've never liked any interview I've seen with him. So then Gus, hello, Gus says, hi, thanks for talking about Mode 1 last week. Looked it up. It's very good stuff. I've been Mode 1ing my wife the last few days. She likes it. Gets really turned on. What other people should I research? Oh, wow, Gus. That's amazing. So how are you Mode 1ing her? Are you just being brutally honest? Are you dirty talking her? Are you just telling her what you want to do to her? How's it? Tell me more. And what other people should I research? I'm going to temper Mode 1 with something that's coming from the exact opposite frame, but it's also incredibly effective, and I think the perfect complement to being an Uber Dom. It's a book called Feeling Good Together by David Burns. Yeah, it's a kind of lame title, but I will tell you, if you learn the skills in those books, you can make any relationship last and you will cure any problem in your relationship pretty much if it's emotional and not sexual. Even if it's sexual, it could help, honestly. Check the book out, Feeling Good Together. I will put it in the chat. Life-changing. Probably one of the most life-changing books I've ever read in my life, if not the most. Anyway, so then Crypto Rona Dude says, whip it out. Johnny Boy says, how do you improve your social skills in general and stop from getting into your head? So I actually hired a social skills coach. Okay, the guy was really weird at times. But he did teach me some really good stuff that kind of fixed something that I was doing, that like a big mistake I was making socially. Like I feel like we probably all are making kind of unique mistakes socially. Like, and I'm sure there's a lot more I don't know about, okay? But I just know one big one that I was making, which was, as kind of like a shy and introverted person, my natural instinct was just to hide like everything about myself and never open up. But I realized that was a huge mistake. And now I like forced myself to open up more by giving at least like multiple points at the very least for like everything I say. That's helped a lot. But anyway, you can hire a social skills coach. Like the guy I hired, he had this course and it was called How to Never Run Out of Things to Say. And he was like, I told him, we had like a free consultation. I was telling him like my problems. He was like, okay, so do you still sometimes feel like you run out of things to say when you talk to people? I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. And he was like, okay, well, let's work on that first. It was really good. So, yeah, you could do that. There's a lot of books you can read. I don't know. I've read a lot of books on social skills, but they don't really like help that much, in my opinion. Well, the ones I've read didn't really help that much. So the social skills coaching helped out. I'd like to find another social skills coach. That would be really cool. Like if I just meet someone who has like amazing social skills, I kind of want to just be like, can you coach me? Because I need help. Anyway, but find someone who you think has like really good points and really good social skills. That guy's course, it's good and it's really cheap too. It's like $10, $12 or something, I think, when I bought it. So it wasn't like expensive at all. His name is Social Shortcuts. You might have seen him on TikTok. So then Milo AV says, yeah, I mean, gender role related, a little bit old school stuff, not Shakespearean or fuckboyish, like getting up when she arrives at a table, opening doors, etc. That's good, in my opinion. That's good because it can create a very dominant vibe. Milo AV. On the date, okay, it's like you're at the risk of you guys just talking about stuff like friends. Okay. And from your perspective, you're like, yeah, I'm not seeing her as a friend. I'm seeing her as like somebody I could potentially have sex with, right? But from her perspective, she's thinking, I could see this guy as a friend. So if you don't create a romantic, sexual, BDSM charge spark, she's going to say, oh, I didn't feel the spark. Yeah, because you didn't create a spark. Okay. If you just continue doing the normal conversation, like, oh, like, where have you traveled? And do you have any siblings? And what do you do for work? And what are you into? All this kind of stuff, you're never going to create a spark. You have to do sexually, and I'm not saying reach out and grab her and squeeze. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. No, I'm saying you have to do semi-sexually charged things, such as the old school stuff, because that's creating this vibe for her where she's kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I'm supposed to be all like feminine now, and he's being a man and he's being masculine and he's being protective and paying for the date, like he's going to provide for me and he's opening the door, like he's protecting me. All these things are kind of like BDSM coded. Do you know what I'm saying? So yes, it's good. Okay, very good. It comes off as masculine, manly, and it makes her feel feminine and submissive. Let's be real. So then Pedro says, how hard do you think it is for a normal man to become an alpha? Because sometimes I feel overwhelmed by so much information about it. I feel like I am not made to be one because it is hard for me. Honestly, it's a tough question because do I think it's possible? Absolutely. Do I think it's hard? Yes. Because it's complicated. There's like a bunch of different areas you have to master and stuff. And you have to kind of untangle some of your thinking and your unveil your blind spots. So is it hard? It can be, yeah. Okay. That's why I've been telling you guys lately, focus on your looks. Because if you just look good, she's going to basically see you as an alpha. Whether or not you have kind of like the more complicated social skills, game, and confidence, those things are, in my opinion, like the holy grail. However, if you just look good, she won't even notice that you don't have the rest of it. So I would focus on that because it's going to get you the most results for the least effort. And while you're doing that, I would try to keep working on it. Okay, keep working on becoming alpha. But I think like you'll get the most rewards most efficiently in the quickest amount of time by focusing on your looks first. Because like you said, it is hard. It's not easy. It's kind of like a multi-step process to become a alpha or someone a woman really respects, looks up to, admires, and is like semi-intimidated by, honestly. Okay? That's not super easy. So yeah. I feel half naked says stop reading, go out to test theories 90% of the time. I love it. I agree with you. And I wish it was 100% of the time. So then Big Techno says cheating in sexless relationships, particularly one where the man is in a sole provider role. I never thought I would be a cheater until it happened to me. I broke up long ago for many other reasons. Well, honestly, Big Techno, I never think you should cheat. I think you should just have the talk. Like, listen, this is not working for me. I can't go without sex. Sex is important to me, and I totally understand if we have like differences in libido. I never want to pressure you, but it's just not working. Okay, I understand that this is not so easy if there's kids involved or you're the sole provider. It's sticky, it's messy. Okay, but it's worth it, in my opinion, honestly, to just get divorced over it. Okay, sex is important, and you don't want to be living a lie, in my opinion. You don't want to have this like foundation of dishonesty. So break up and do what you have to do after that, but you can do it honestly. But yeah, I understand that it's kind of sometimes people don't want to break up their family. So it kind of puts a lot of pressure because like a lot of times like the woman or man, but let's just say woman, does not really understand the importance that like I can't go without sex, and sex is important because so many women and men are just told like sex is not important, like you can live without sex. Like I hear that so much in all these different groups for women I'm in, like don't be a baby, you're not going to die without sex. Okay, well, I disagree. Yeah, you're not going to die without sex, but that doesn't mean you should just be trapped in a sexless relationship for your whole life. So please, in my opinion, break up and embrace and own the fact that sex is important to you and you don't want to pressure her. Okay? And you don't want to make her life miserable. But, you know, it's so important to you that you're willing to do what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? But please don't cheat. Don't live a lie and don't betray her because while you're cheating and getting sex on the side, maybe she wants like kind of like she could be getting other guys too, but it's like you're unfairly like getting what you want and not giving her the opportunity to do the same. It's not fair. It's not right. Okay, maybe she doesn't want sex, but maybe she would want somebody who's kind of like more emotionally connected to her, or she could go find something like that. You know, there's other guys who would give it to her, so it's just not fair. All right. William Montague is giving me a huge super chat. Thank you so much, William. I really appreciate that. And let me see if you have a question that I missed down here. I can celebrate. How come I can't give everyone else a like, but I'm giving you my love react, William Montague. I've never done that before. Thank you so much. And if you have a question, William, or you just have like a comment, like why are you giving me this amazingly nice super chat? Let me know. But if not, no pressure. And I thank you very much. So, all right, if I don't see any, and what do you guys think about that? Cheating. Have you ever been in that relationship with a difference in libido? Um, so then Franklin Richard says, I've heard some women maintain a strong sexual desire into their late 60s, but I also have a friend who's in her late 50s says she doesn't have any sexual desire. Yeah. Yeah. Like, it goes both ways, I think. So then David McFarland says, what do women generally look for in their late teens and early 20s compared to their late 20s and 30s? Honestly, David, I think in their late teens and early 20s, it's like they're kind of more driven by instinct in a way. They don't really understand who they're dealing with, what kind of guys are out there, and they're kind of just going, it's almost like this whole like hypergamy thing where like the alpha Chad thing is like ramped up to like 25. Why did I choose 25? I don't know. Let's just say 10. Okay? Like I remember rejecting like on the first date I went on, it was just very very instinctual. Like and I was just rejecting guys who I sometimes later thought back on. I'm just like, why did I reject that guy? Like he was really good looking, he was really really nice, and he was cool, and we had a great conversation. But it's like this primal like instinct was so strong in me, and I didn't understand it at all. Like what was driving me? Okay, but then when you get to your late 20s and 30s, you're kind of like figuring it out more, and you're also looking more to settle down usually, and so you're kind of looking for more of those kind of like stable provider like husband traits, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of starts like weighing more heavily, I guess. So then JC3 Production says, I'm a younger guy, 22 years old, and trying to learn how to be the fully dominant masculine man with girls, but I feel like sometimes the nice guy holds me back. Yeah, 100% JC3. And also, first of all, it's like when you say fully dominant masculine man, I mean, I feel like who doesn't get this image of like some kind of action hero or whatever? That's like impossible to live up to. So it may not be what you're envisioning it to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of guys think, oh yeah, so you gotta like punch people in the face and always be like loud and outgoing, and I gotta just be like super aggro all the time and never have feelings. And I get why it kind of like sounds like that, but that is not really like the nuanced full story of what it means to be dominant. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be dominant in every single interaction. It's more like do certain like masculine things in dating fulfill the masculine role in dating, and then in the bedroom put a little bit of light dominance and see if she likes it. So I don't want you to get this impression that like, oh God, I have to be like that Jean-Claude Van Damme, or I don't even like know this guy, but he's like this really intense looking action hero from the old days. You know what I'm saying? So the nice guy holds me back. Yeah. But I agree, like the nice guy probably is holding you back, which is normal. Okay. Most people don't just naturally like act super like toxically masculine, you know? So anyway, you can tell me more about that if you would care to elaborate, JC3. So, did I miss somebody? Oh my gosh, I missed Milo AV. Thank you so much, Milo AV. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, Milo AV. And if you have a question, Milo AV, just copy and paste it down below because I might have missed it because I'm kind of like far behind in the chat right now. And then David McFarland, thank you so much. This was for your answer. Thanks, Victoria. I really appreciate that, David. Now let me just see one thing. Now, David, I'm going to read your other things, okay? So I'm pretty sure I know what your question was. Sometimes I just. Okay, David, let me read all your comments. Slim. Okay. Yep. What do women generally look for in their late teens and early 20s compared to their late 20s and 30s? Yeah, David, what do you think of that answer? And do you agree? Because trust me, I remember what it was like. Okay. It was like everything was magnified by a lot. But I was also like ignorant in a lot more ways. You know, and I also think like looks was even more important as well because after I was a stripper, I kind of realized that looks like wasn't really doing it for me anymore because I was experiencing something on a deeper level, which was just multiple crazy sexual chemistry with guys of all different looks because since I was just basically selling lap dances and I would like give basically anyone who wanted it, who I liked, a lap dance, I got to experience like all guys with like all different attractivenesses. Whereas before I was kind of only like, I had like a certain threshold, like for guys I was dating, like they had to be this attractive or higher. So when I was giving these lap dances to guys with all kinds of looks, I realized like, why was I focusing on looks? Because that has nothing to do with sexual chemistry and like what I'm feeling with these guys of like all different body shapes and sizes and looks is so much more intense and powerful. Like looks is just so fucking stupid. So I kind of like dropped that requirement because I'm like, no, I'm after something better. I'm after something deeper. But anyway, before that, I was very like looks biased, just like most girls. So then, and guys, if I've missed any of the super chats questions, just copy and paste them down below. And then Naughty2 says, hey Vic, I also sent a second super chat whenever you notice it. Thanks. Oh my gosh, Naughty2. Oh, here it is. Thank you so much, Naughty2. And I apologize for missing it. Thank you for reminding me. And please, anyone else, if I miss it, please tell me because I would absolutely hate that. Like if I were in a super chat and I super chat and then the person just completely missed it. And I would feel so bad if I did that. So please do tell me. Just like Donnie2 did. Thank you, Donnie2. All right, let's read this. So he said, I'm gonna just wait until she asks me out. And then he got ghosted by the girl. But they both liked each other. I told him, you can't delay the inevitable of getting rejected. But he ignored me, so lol. Oh God, you're right, Donnie2. So he's delaying the inevitable of getting rejected. Like you think that's kind of like the fear that's driving him. Yeah. Yeah. It's true, okay? The girl has a lot of other options. You know, unfair but true, right? Okay, so if you're taking your sweet time, who knows? Like in that time, she could meet someone, she could have a boyfriend already. You know, like these things happen really quick, especially if the girl's like really attractive. So it's a horrible strategy. And I'm glad that you're telling him, and hopefully it sinks in because yeah, he got ghosted. And yeah, and that's the other thing, 92, is that it comes off as beta and weak. And the kind of like more wised up the girl is, the more she's gonna recognize this kind of behavior, and she's just gonna see it as instantly like, this guy is not cool. This guy is a beta. This guy is just too passive. This guy is not masculine. This guy is not alpha. This guy is not dominant. These are the kind of things the girls feel. Okay. And yeah, they can recognize it by something as simple as the way he's texting, the passivity in his text. I know I definitely like would have rejected someone in online dating for doing that, because it's just like, if you can't even do the first thing right, which is like and make a plan and invite me on the date, what else are you going to do wrong? Like, there's just no chance. There's no chance I could have sex with this guy. He's just too passive. You know what I'm saying? So you tried, Nani, too. You tried. And hopefully he comes around. But if he doesn't, maybe he'll have to learn the hard way. So appreciate your super chat again. Super chats, 92. Thank you. So then, all right. Now, let me just read some of these chats because I don't want to miss anything. You know what, Mark? I think that's a really interesting question. What would women do if there was zero slut shaming in the society? I honestly think about that sometimes. It's a really interesting question. Like, what would women's sexuality be like if they never grew up with slut shaming? If their sexuality was always kind of like celebrated and embraced by society. I think it would be a lot better for everyone, would it not? But it's a very, very interesting question. So Gurjot says, they would go on a sexual rampage. For reference, you can always check out girls how they behave at touristic destinations when they are by themselves. That's a good point. A sexcation. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I wouldn't call it like a sexual rampage, but just simply taking advantage of the options they get every single day and reject due to slut shaming, you know, and enjoying their life and having fun. So I don't think, you know. And then let's see. All right, so where should I start from these questions? Now, let's see. Should I start at the bottom of the chat, or should I start like where I left off at the top of the chat? What do you guys think is like the best way? Because maybe some people who like have left, or maybe some people are patiently waiting. All right, I'll just go back to where I was. So then, and let me block someone while I'm at it. So yeah, I blocked someone, and I guess you're not going to know who you are, but you will know who you are because you insulted me. Real bad. So, then, and if you guys didn't insult me, then you have nothing to worry. And I don't mind you guys coming in with a critique Okay, but when you make it like a personal ad hominem critique, there's no reason for that. Am I right? So, I'm not saying you can't ask questions or you can't criticize me or be like, I vehemently disagree with you or whatever. But like, is it necessary to just be like incredibly rude and insulting about me personally? No. So that's the only reason I blocked. So, where should I start? All right. So let's see. Brian Green says, what sort of scenes of a sexual persuasion would you be most titillated by whilst reading? Random question. I think it's a great question, Brian Green, if you're still here. Well, there's a lot, okay? And I read a lot of, let's say, erotica. So there's a lot of different fantasies, storylines, and kinks that I'm like into. Okay, but I will tell you one that kind of like surprised me recently, which was I follow these people on social media, Justin and London Winters. I don't know, do any of you guys follow them? They're kind of like these polarity coaches and they're very like spiritual. But I decided to read their book and I was thinking, this should be entertaining. But actually, there was one scene in there where I was like, that's actually really hot. So yeah, I never thought I was like into this whole like spiritual sexuality stuff, but I'm like, I have to admit, that was hot. And you just taught me something new because I would never have thought I would want to try that, but now I do. So yeah. And let me ask the same question to you guys. Although this is gonna make this chat probably like restricted. I don't fucking care. Because I've also been saying like fucking a lot, so it's probably gonna get restricted anyway. But let me ask the same question back at you guys if you dare. So the new pathway says the female gaze. Let's talk about that. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. What do you want to know about it? So then David McFarland says between ARC and KS. Who's KS? These ninjas are going. Oh, Kevin Samuels. Yeah, are going out young. WTF is going on. Yeah, I would like to know as well. So then Dr. Rocket says, my wife is 18 years younger, 5'2" with green eyes, blonde hair, 36 Ds. Oh, you guys crack me up. She's drop dead gorgeous and stops traffic. I asked why she picked me, and she said, you are the only man I've met who tells the truth. Damn. That's a good compliment. You got it, Dr. Rocket. You got the stamp. You got her stamp of approval. Wow. That's awesome. She thinks highly of you. That's amazing. So I feel half naked says, man and women. And you know what? I can understand why, Dr. Rocket, because you're a very likable fellow, even through comments. So that's amazing. I feel half naked says, men and women want a full package of another half. However, in reality, it's nearly impossible just based on odds. That's why I'm an advocate of open relationships, and monogamy sucks. It's codependent. I definitely kind of agree too. Like, I'm not saying monogamy, in my opinion, monogamy doesn't suck, but definitely has its flaws. And I'm also an advocate of open relationships if you're into that. So yeah, I think it's very good if you want to do it. So Space Monkey says, do women like to be the damsel in distress only when it's convenient for them? For example, when they find the ugly guy creepy, but not the handsome guy. Well, that's a tricky question because it's like, I'm not exactly sure. Because, like, for example, if she really was a damsel in distress, she'd be okay being rescued by the ugly guy. But I guess, let me know what you mean by a woman who's being the damsel in distress only when it's convenient for them. Like, what situation are you thinking of when a woman is being a damsel in distress? You know? So then Pasta says, is it better to hide certain hobbies such as video game related activities in a man cave, or should I include my woman if she's not into that? I feel like it's gonna lose me some appeal points. Um, here's the thing, guys. I don't really know how to like make sense of this, but things like video games, okay, it's almost like a love-hate relationship. Because on the one hand, they're very masculine. So they're very like polarizing in a way. Do you know what I mean? So it's very like man coded. So in a way, it's kind of erotic. So she's gonna like expect and understand that you're into like man things. And in a way, it's sexy. In another way, she might be like, okay, maybe it's sexually attractive, but I want you to kind of like be my provider. So you can't waste time on video games and you gotta like, you know, be like successful. So it's kind of like this push and pull between kind of like the husband and like the alpha seed and like the beta need. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think you have to hide it in a man cave. Like, is it going to lose you appeal? Not really, because I mean, most girls assume that guys are into video games and they know it's almost like a masculine thing. So I wouldn't try to like hide it or be embarrassed of it. It might cause some problems. She might be like, oh my God, like, why does he play video games all the time and not spend time with me? And he should be like working. But I mean, in its own way, it's kind of erotic. Like, if you guys have heard the song, the Lana Del Rey song, Video Games, that's all about like the eroticization of a guy playing video games. What do you make of that? Lana Del Rey is like the ultimate female gaze icon. So you might want to study her to understand like women. Anyway. So then Ludacris says, can you make it where we can see the chat on your screen so we know if something we said was blocked so we can rephrase it and we'll know how far. Yeah, okay, Lunicron, how would I do that? Like, I don't know how to do that. Let me see if I can like edit. Nah. Customization. Yeah, I can't. Let me know if you know how to do that. Because then I'll do it. Sure, no problem. So Andre says, a girl gave me head on the first date and I didn't even get to know her. That's hot. So then Asif says, what do you mean expose him? I forgot what I was saying there, Asif. So then If you'll have Naked says, women like to ask you this kind of boring questions when they are interested. Lol. Not sure what you mean by that. So Dr. Rocket says, watch TED Talk by a woman, how to have a conversation. She's the best TED Talk for social skills and it's funny to boot. Well, I am highlighting that right now because I need to watch that. So I'm copying and pasting that for later, Dr. Rocket. Thank you for that tip. And if any of you guys have some good tips on like any person you feel has taught you better social skills as well, please let me know because I need the help. So Prince James says, I lost my relationship last month. What should I do now? I'm in a new city. Okay, Prince James. Well, I would get on it. I would start doing it all. I would start looks maxing. I would start getting good pictures for your online dating profile once you have looks maxed so you can do online dating. I would approach women like wherever you see them in public. I would go out to like, nightlife stuff and try to approach people there. Like just get on it. I would even see like a legal sex worker if you can. Then okay. So then I feel half naked says why most people have put in the least effort get the most out of anything mentality. It applies to work relationships. I believe it's the main reason that creates resentment and disappointment. That's a good point. You do have a point there. I feel half naked. You do. You're right. I am like very like prone to that mentality of just like, oh, I have to find like the perfect and most efficient and effective way before I can like do anything. And Supposedly, that's not what it's all about. You just gotta do like the imperfect thing, you know. Anyway, so I feel half naked says sex is glue. I agree. Mind Warlock says, is it beta to take a woman I like and have her choose clothes for me to create a style she likes? No, it is not. It is not. That's actually something a woman will like doing, okay? And it will be very helpful for you. It's not beta, it's very good. Because if this woman has good style, she can help you a lot. She can help you up level. And they're not going to see it as beta because most women kind of understand they're going to have to like do this for a guy they're dating because they kind of like assume guys don't have like a great sense of style for the most part. A lot of men's style was like curated by their girlfriends or wives, so it's kind of normal and it's almost like a perk for a woman. I feel half naked says if she doesn't want to have sex, she either has emotional problems because she cannot open up herself or she's just manipulative. Okay, that is totally false. I feel half naked. That is not true. Okay? There's a lot more reasons than that why someone might not want to have sex. So that is something I disagree with. So Toasted Tart says, I'm reading about body language. Can you give body language to look out for to know if a woman is interested in me? That's a really tough question. Like sometimes I'll see a video or like on a reality dating show, well, I'll see some body language that's very obvious, but it's really hard to describe, isn't it? Like just in words without like looking at it, because these things are subtle, right? But one kind of like interesting tip I'll give you, it's kind of gross too, but look for daughter behavior, not mother behavior. Okay. Look for a girl who's kind of like acting like a little girl rather than like, oh, you're sweet. Yeah. You're great. You're a great guy. Aw. That's kind of like mother behavior versus daughter behavior. If it's she's giving you mother behavior, she kind of like sees herself as kind of like the dominant, superior one. If she's giving you a little girl behavior, it's like she's feeling submissive. So try that. See if that one helps. It's a great question, though. So then William Montague says, no question, I'll schedule an appointment soon. That'd be amazing, William Montague. Email me my nonleatherlife@gmail.com. And thanks again for your super chat. David says, I haven't cheated, but I had to politely leave one of my girlfriends. Amazing, David. I love that. Lunacron says, that's one of the big problems with relationships. Whoever cares the least has all the power, and the more the other person tries, it just becomes more and more unbalanced. Pretty much, yeah. I feel half naked says, if your wife has low libido, you can consider having an open relationship with her, provided you love her and promise yourself you won't mix love and sex together. Otherwise, encourage her to solve emotions. Okay. I don't like that last part, solve emotions, but Mario says, yes, I was. I got a divorce and became more kinky, and she was more vanilla. I didn't want to hide anymore. That's great. Fantastic. Okay, William Montague, awesome. And then David says, thank you so much for the honest answer. And said, you're welcome, dude. Steve says, see if you can get this, Victoria, and reply. I'm going to try to use as less words as possible. All right, I'll look for it. So then John says, I like your live chats, but your non-live shorter videos had an ASMR quality that I enjoy, and they create an intimacy that you don't get in live chat. Yeah, I know. The live chat is not as good, John, but I like it better because I get like interaction with people and I get less like hate comments and like very annoying comments because it's like people who just want to be here. But I agree. Like, you have to be like very, very committed to watch one of these lives, and I really appreciate everyone who does. But I just feel it's kind of fun because it's like I kind of get to know you guys like on a more personal level. Obviously, it's harder because I'm only seeing your comments, but it's kind of like I do. Like I'm getting to know you guys a little for sure, not as great as like in person, but yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah, the short video is a lot better. So then, hello, Mario. And I feel after he says, monogamy is placed on men for control. You're probably right. I mean, I don't know, but it's definitely a very good theory. So then David says, I think you were on point. Through my life, I'm 42. I've been with women of different ages through my years. Okay. So then Gurjot says, so Milo says, I used to feel just the same thing. Look, being masculine and dominant is different from being a sociopath. You can be dominant by helping others genuinely. Men act. Great point, Milo. Very important point as well. And Victoria did not miss any of my questions until you are. Okay, good. So then Finesse Envy says, what was your experience with black men? I don't really know how to answer that because, like, as I said, I went on over like around 280 dates. So, I mean, yeah. Then Brian Green says, well, what do you want to know specifically, Finesse Envy? Then Brian Green says, wait an hour. Peter says, I am waiting, but I reposted. Pedro says, can you identify sexually dissatisfied married women? Probably. Like, look at what they're liking on Facebook and TikTok. I'll say that. Then, all right. Adrian B says, you used to have an interview with Sterling Kluber. It was really useful. Any idea where I might find it? It's posted on his channel, but I took it down on my channel. Hey, Don Giovanni. All right, guys, I'm getting pretty tired, so I'm probably going to go to bed. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for everyone who's super chatted me. First of all, I do really so much appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you to everyone who submitted very interesting questions, second of all. And just any questions, because like that also means a lot. Like you're participating and the fact that you're even here listening to me like ramble on for hours. I appreciate that a lot. Number 3, thanks for all your comments and insights because I really enjoy them. They're very like stimulating intellectually. And thank you guys just for being here like with me and trying to connect with me and just like sharing and hanging out with me. Like it's just so much fun for me. And I've been trying to think actually of something I could do for kind of like a lot of the people who come to my lives because I feel like they're almost like my super fans in a way because it's like in order to come to a live, you actually have to like be interested. So what would you guys think would be good? I was thinking I could maybe offer like some free calls or something, or like some shorter calls like for free. I could like call people up, or I could do like a live thing where like you guys call in and just like ask a question live, or I don't know. Like what would be good? I could do a giveaway. It's kind of like lame, but what do you guys think? Any thoughts? Yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, just email me at mynonleatherlife@gmail.com. Also, if you want a one-on-one session, we can do that. But hey, you might want to wait till this giveaway. No, but I think it will be like a shorter call because usually I do like 1 hour calls. So if you want to buy a 1 hour call, you can still do that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts for like a cool way to give back to the people who come to my lives. I would appreciate that. All right, guys. Thanks again. And I hope you have a wonderful night. And wonderful dreams, and I hope you go up at least 1 point in the look-smacking scale due to your own efforts, and I hope you supercharge with that 1 incremental point your results and get possibly exponentially better results. So, all right, guys, goodbye. Sweet dreams, everybody. Thanks again.